what we're gonna be talking about today, I'm gonna be combining two topics into one. One of them is gonna be, printing, ugly sweaters. It's that time of the year. I'm not sure how many of you guys have done that in the past. I'm assuming most of you seasoned pros, have done that. So what I wanted to talk about is, how to deal with seasonal fluctuations. How to deal with, fluctuations in your business in general and production. So it seems to be, depending what type of printing that you do, it has this, every year has the ups and downs. When I was doing production, I noticed that at the beginning of the year, that's kind of where, everybody was, kind of recuperating from, the Christmas printing. Victor, you were talking about how, the Christmas production's been, really, heavy for you. And that's kind of like a hit and miss for some people. Christmas, some people like to, I remember, there was a company that I would outsource to, and they like to take 2 weeks off, during Christmas. That's when they would give everybody their time off. And then you have other companies where that's game day. That's when they make the majority of good revenue for the fourth quarter of the year. There's fluctuations in the year. So I'm not sure, Michael and Yvonne, if you want to share fluctuations in your business. When do you find it to be the busiest throughout the year?
So for us, it's November.
October, November.
Yeah, we have a client that does retreats. So generally, he does 2 retreats in December, whereas every other month he does one. So we are printing November for December.
Oh
And
wow,
then we
okay.
also are going through that that convention that we print for him too. So between his 2 retreats and his convention, we do about 7,000 shirts in a 2 month period.
Okay. So, how many years have you guys been doing that for?
4, 5.
Okay. And that
So
kind of,
we know
uh-huh.
we know it's coming, and every year he orders more than the year before. So we're gearing up pretty much all year round, making sure that when that month comes, we're all set.
Okay, so that's pretty good. What you guys do and it's anticipating. That's kind of the first point that I wanted to cover is, you know, anticipate and plan. I have on here, use historical sales data to predict busy periods and slower times, and it seems that's exactly what you're doing. You've had this customer for 4 years, and you can kind of predict, when is going to be the heaviest time. And the good thing is that it seems like that customer is working with you, because the last thing I used to come across was those last minute Christmas high volume orders. Sometimes the customers weren't maybe as flexible, so I had to determine whether I wanted to take them or not. But that's good that you have that flexibility with that customer, because you're able to do stuff in November that's for December.
Well, and we sit down and talk to him like last year or this year. I told him that I wanted everything into me by the end of July, beginning of August. Next year, it's going to have to be the beginning of July, because all the last minute, oh, can you do this for me, Yvonne? And can you do that for me? And whatever and whatnot. It was out of control this year. So I am going to sit down with the president of that particular thing. The
Uh-huh.
RoofCon is what it's called. And I'm going to say to him, look, I need everything you plan to do, how many shirts, how many colors, whatever and whatnot, by the beginning of July. So that way I have enough time for all the other people to say, oh, can you do this for me? And can you do that for me?
No, that's really good. If you have that relationship with that customer, because there's customers where I've had where they don't, you know, they're hard headed, and then it seems like some of them I've built those good relationships where I can, like how you're saying, where you can sit them down and be straightforward with them and let them know, like, hey, this is what we need to do. to move smoother. There's been times where I had to, set boundaries with these customers where I'd be like, hey, I have no problem helping you out, but if you miss this deadline, this is what the price is going to increase by this percentage because I have to have people work overtime. I have to have people come in on the weekends to do your orders. So sometimes giving them that tough love.
Yeah, and they're really good too. Like, I mean, one year just for the price of the t-shirts was $25,000.
Oh
So,
wow.
or somewhere, but things like that you have to know too.
Hmm. So you're selling them pretty much the printed good with the t-shirt and everything. Okay. Yeah, so that's a really good account. You definitely need to have everything, organized for those kind of orders because if you're dealing I've had these customers where maybe they have a higher order and then they want to, cut it last minute or the other way around where it's like last minute they want to increase it and especially during the holidays where the inventory is a little bit tighter, them increasing it and maybe having to order stuff from multiple warehouses, delays and that yeah, that can definitely add up. And kind of touching up on it, anticipate and plan. This includes stocking up on materials, ensuring your equipment is in top condition, and possibly hiring temporary staff, which I've heard you guys talk about that. You have people on standby, family members ready to roll. And during the slower periods, focusing on maintenance, training, and business development. Um, Equipment for me that was a biggie because it got to the point where I'm gonna admit it, we had I think like 10 free jets in production, and I kind of let the maintenance maybe slip a little, which resulted on downtime on certain equipment and so forth. So, we had to set up maintenance plan where it's like, hey, at the beginning of the day, this is what you do. Because I remember I showed my staff, I timed it. I'm like, hey, if you have your free jet, it only takes like 30 seconds to wipe around the print head, the damper, and all that stuff. And then there was a printer that we hadn't done maintenance for I don't know how long, where it's like, the dampers dry ink, the wiper blade is all dried up, there's all this ink around the printhead. So it took 15 minutes just to clean that up. And I told him, 30 seconds compared to 15 minutes. So that's kind of where, we made it a point to have that equipment ready to roll, especially for the holidays. You never know when you're going to get these, last minute orders. And if your equipment is not the best, maybe it's not printing the best, that's where you want to make sure that you're ready. You have ink, you have supplies, depending on what decoration method. I know when I was doing screen printing, Michael and Yvonne, I'm not sure you guys can relate. I would have these orders and I didn't even have white ink. And I was like, how do I get to the point where I don't even have white ink? And then I have to run to my local screen printing shop and be like, I come bring the white ink. It's like, oh yeah, we don't have black either. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. So it's like, basic stocking of, colors and make you guys are laughing because it seems like, that might have happened to you guys. Um, so I'm not sure if you want to share a little bit in regards to something that might have happened to you guys.
Yeah, when we still had all this equipment that's out here in our house, and everything was like shoved in a corner. So we thought we had
White ink.
white ink. And so now we buy them like 5-gallon buckets, two at a time,
But
just so that doesn't happen.
yeah, I was scrambling to clean out every bucket I had as much as I could. I was cleaning it off the old screens, anywhere I could find it. I was scraping it to finish the job.
And then we had blue that had we needed, and there was just this little bit left, and we had a new bucket coming in the next couple days. And I was so frantic about it, I dropped it, and it went all over the wall and all over the carpet. And
Oh
we
wow.
didn't know if we were going to make it, but we made it happen.
Oh, talk about the worst case scenario, huh?
Yeah.
So, that definitely, and then touching on to, being prepared when it's going to be heavy. Also, what do you do during the slower periods? There's times where, it was me and another staff member helping me, and it got to the point where the business was super slow. I would have them, go out handing out flyers, doing whatever we could. They got to the point where it was kind of slow, and then I had just purchased these, shelving racks that were pretty big and industrial. They were all rusty, so I had them like sand them down and paint them up. So it's kind of like, what do you do, during the slow periods? That's when, we try to, tidy up, the office, get everything looking nice and shiny. And then how do you try to get, more business? So, and I learned kind of the hard way because, I would go through these, spots where I would get really heavy. And then while I was, in heavy mode for like a month or 6 weeks, I'd be like, man, I wish I wasn't doing anything. I wish, these orders were out the door and I can just relax. And then when you're relaxing and then the bills come in, you're like, oh man, I wish I had some orders to help me with these bills. It's like especially if you're the one that's in the trenches printing, because you're for the most part you're overloading yourself in production and then you're overloading yourself in administrative work and so forth. So my thing was like, how do I, try to do it where it's not so much of a roller coaster, but a little bit smoother. And that's something that comes with years of experience. I'm pretty sure Michael and Yvonne, Victor, you guys, especially Victor, where you're dealing with your holiday printing. How many years, Victor? I'm gonna put you on the spot. How many years do you feel that you've dealt with that kind of holiday printing? I don't think Victor could hear. He's maybe giving me some sign language, but moving on. Let me see if we can see the free jet now in action. Let me see if Mauricio fixed it up for us. One of the things that we wanted to showcase was actually printing direct to film ugly sweaters. Let me share my screen. Maybe that'll help. Can you guys see my screen? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is, two of the designs that they're working on right now. And then I'm going to show it to you. This one right here. We have this one, and I started working on this one earlier today with, AI. I know a couple weeks back we talked about using AI to create designs, and I uploaded one of the designs that we have. Can you guys see me zooming in? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I went and I actually used ChatGPT for this one, and I just typed in create me an ugly sweater design, and it spit out a couple different options for me, and then I kind of like this option with the reindeer. We had this, I'm not sure how many of you guys have seen our regular Inspire and Over Deliver graphic that's normally all colorful. We had our executing. Let me show you this guy right here. So I inputted this design, the bear executing, billionaire moves. And then what ChatGPT spit out was this guy. So I liked it. And I said, give me 4 different options. So it gave me this one. It gave me like a Christmas looking one. So it gave me 4 options. Give me 4 options. I like these two. So then what I did is I just, duplicated, the designs on there. And then this is one of the designs that I did. And then I'm going to show you how I actually, went ahead and added that in our system. And let me go over our next. One of the things before I show you online was, diversifying your product range, um, to which is something that we were talking about right now to counteract seasonal dips, diversify your product offerings. I heard Alma, she talked about doing engraving. Michael and Yvonne, you guys are really good at having screen printing, embroidery, direct to film. So just being able to diversify your offerings, that's definitely going to help with the seasonal fluctuations. You can
Hey,
do items.
Victor,
Uh-huh.
something else for people to remember too is if somebody asks you if you do something, you may have never tried it before, but like with me, being it's so close to an event, I'll say, I don't do it like sublimation. I do not do sublimation, not interested in doing sublimation, but I know people who can. Let me get you in touch with them. So even if you don't do it, they're going to remember that you took the initiative to get them in touch with somebody that can do what they're looking for.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point, having those resources because, just offering that customer service because, you can just, there's situations similar to that, Yvonne, that I've had where like, hey, fortunately I can help you with that. Hopefully I can help you out on your next project. Here are some resources. Here are some people that I know that might be able to help you out. Um, so that's definitely, something good to do. Like I have on here, it gives you an opportunity when times are down, when you have downturns, this is where you can kind of start experimenting. Like I have on here tote bags, different accessories. So that's when you can really get creative and maybe create stuff that not anybody can do. Because I remember one of the things that this was a while back. I had a larger direct to garment printer. The biggest that it printed was 2 feet by 6 feet. So it was like 24 inches by like 60 or 70. It was a big guy. We can do up to 8 shirts at a time, or we can just do large print. So what I did is I took advantage and I learned how to do all over direct to garment printing. I had some glass panels, different sizes cut out for the body, so just slide them in because I'm all like, what what material can I use to throw through the oven that's not gonna warp on me? So, certain type of glass work. So I got really creative, and then the only reason I started doing this crazy stuff is because I had international clothing brand that they used to sell three, four, $500 t-shirts, and they would request these crazy samples, and I'm like, okay, I have the time to, if it's something that I thought to myself, is this something I might not do right now, but can I experiment and figure it out? And there are situations where I've would give customers maybe something I've never tried before. I would give them this high ridiculous quote, hoping that they wouldn't take it. And sometimes they'd be like, yeah, no problem, let's do it. So then I'm like, okay, now I have to figure out how to do stuff like that. One of them, Michael and Yvonne, that you guys do screen printing. Um, you know, I had these big panels that they were like, something like 4 feet by 5 or 6 feet. Um, and this needed to get screen printed. This is before I, did screen printing in house. I had a manual press. I had to, I had one of the people that I would outsource screen printing. They're like, hey, can you help me burn this, huge screen? I'm not sure if there's McLogan in your area. I was able to order a custom screen for screen printing. My screen print guy, it took him like, he exposed it in like 8 different sections, washed it out. We had to touch it up, and we ended up printing these panels with adhesive, putting foil. So it's kind of like one of those things where the customer wanted a sample. I gave them this ridiculous price. I had to figure it out. It worked, and that's how I kind of took advantage of the downturns. Is how do I get creative, and even just thinking right now, you might already have these existing customers. You can tap into those first. If you're offering a new product or something, a new technique that you decided to work on and you got really good at, that's something that you can offer them. uh, the next thing I have on here is marketing strategies. Tailor your marketing efforts to different times of the year. I'm sure some of you guys that are on our email list, you guys see us probably email you all the time. Depending on the time of the year, we're changing up our marketing for us. You know, during peak seasons, capitalize on trends and holiday themes. Slower periods periods run promotions or special offers to boost sales. I'm not. How many of you guys, just by a show of hands, are really utilizing social media, or is that something that you know you guys need to really start, utilizing more? Just by Yeah, so that's something, social media when, especially right now, you know, I I use TikTok a lot. I can, embarrassingly say that, when I'm feeling like when I have a little bit of downtime and then like I'm overloaded from what I'm doing and I just need to space out. I'll like for 5 or 10 minutes, I'll kind of, scroll through the TikToks, but it's kind of like the feed that I see, it's already tailored to what it knows I want. So it'll show me a bunch of printing stuff, people that are promoting like, their sweaters or t-shirts, that kind of stuff. So I'm like, okay, I see that there's people, that are promoting their stuff. One thing like Michael and Yvonne that I think would be kind of cool. I've seen literally lives on TikTok where people all they're showing is them doing orders, and as they're doing orders, they're talking to whoever's watching, or this is how I'm doing it, order now, have your design. So people are getting really creative, in social media, especially, TikTok. So that's something that might be worth, trying. And then let me show you. So, this is a design that, we were talking about right now. And what I did is, I went into our system, I went ahead and added the order directly, in our back end. And let me show it to you. So some of you guys that are familiar with our platform work, it allows you to, that's one of the things is, when times are slower, what can you do? This is where you maybe up your game on the software that you use, that the technology that can help you improve. So this is one of the things that we offer, to our customers. Some of them, really enjoy, having their online store where they can create, their DTF. So you can have your customers order directly online the DTF sheet that they need. And speaking of, DTF, I go, a lot of the stuff I see on TikTok now, it seems like, everybody is printing DTF sheets and just, sending them out for people to, heat apply them. So that's, something that I've been seeing a lot. You can come in here, if somebody emails you a design, you know, there's customers that we work with, they have like, I don't think Reynolds on here right now, but he had this order where he needed, like 140 or 150 sheets, printed DTF. So, this is a way where you can, send your customers an example. Like right here, we have it, if you guys are running the free jets, 12 and a half by 18 or the 14 by 20, Mike, when you run, you guys have the, the larger one. So you can just, come in here, pick the size 14 by 36, 14 by 20, pick the quantity. In this case, I'm going to be doing one. Let me add to cart. Then right here is where you would upload, your graphic. In this case, I'm going to do the angry bear that we use a lot. And then it automatically scales it to whatever size, your art's at. So, if you have a low resolution graphic, it'll let you know like, hey, this is low resolution. And then that allows you to, to scale it if you want to scale it. So it tells me right here that this is 14 by 17.65. And I go to continue. Yeah, I have copyright. And I think, copyright, if I'm not mistaken, if you edit a design, like I had to double check, but I'm not sure if it's within 20 or 30% of the original, you can, use it. That's why, you have these parody designs. When I was working with these, customers in the past, they would have these parody designs and they were printing thousands, on a daily basis. That's kind of one of the higher volume direct to garment customers I had, where we were doing about, 1,000 prints for them a day. So it's pretty crazy. And all they were doing is just combining, like as an example, Marble with Disney and merge it into one design. I'm not sure if you guys have seen that. And then I would always think to myself, I'm like, man, if I was creative or, like maybe like someone like Alma or Benny, I'm like, man, if I was good at graphic design, I can be creating these designs and selling them online because they were just, killing it. And now with AI, those of you guys that, aren't the best at it, I know that with at least I haven't found one, Benny might know, but I haven't found one where you can upload files except ChatGPT. On ChatGPT, if you can upload multiple files and say, hey, merge these into one, and that'll do stuff like that. The other ones, you just kind of, Alma, you have a question?
Yeah. So with I use ChatGTP to help me with some of my grants that I write, but
Uh-huh.
I've never done it where I put like a graphic in there. Um, can you show us how to do that on there? How you did it?
Yeah, for sure. Let me
I've never uploaded a graphic or anything like that. I mean I've used it for like to help restructure sentences and things like that, but not anything like graphic wise. But I would love to see that.
Yeah, for sure. Let me show you that. Are you guys still seeing my screen?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. So for this one, I'm not sure which version you use, but you have to be in version 4. So the cool thing is that they just made a new upgrade to their software. Before you would have like, the image designer, the now, so it had like 4 or 5 different tools. So now they combined it into one, and they also have plugins. And for those of you guys that are not familiar with plugins, it's kind of like adding an app within ChatGPT. Um, I'll show you some of the ones that I have. Let me just move my screen here. I just have to move my stuff around. So there's some that, I've added on here based on stuff that I do. And if I go into the plugin store, just out of curiosity, if I type in art, let's see what pops up. I know this is where somebody, Mauricio, he told me about Canva. So I, got Canva from here, create anything, article creator, art collection, search through millions of art pieces from the, let's try this one. BART real time, getting real time BART information for your specified. So that doesn't seem like it. But this is a good way. Let me move around my thing. Okay. So this is a good way to play around, and they're constantly adding different plugins. Let me make sure this is the only one I have. Art collection. Oh, let me see. And I'll show you how to create art right now. I'm just learning for this app. You guys are literally watching me. And then based on what you tell it, see, and now it's using art collection. So based on the plugin that you use, it's gonna use that one. So let me see if it actually shows me the actual one. Because on the prompt I put to show me. Okay, so for this plugin, it doesn't do that. So, and this is where you guys can experiment with the different plugins that they have. I literally have some where, it's kind of cool because it'll read videos. And you can just put the YouTube link on there and it'll summarize it and I'll do all this crazy stuff. But for graphics, you go to this one, the version 4. Let me see if I upload this guy. Sometimes, they've been experiencing a lot of heavy volume, so a lot of times it gets a little it'll say can't do it. So then it'll be these two designs. So it'll automatically start processing those, those graphics, and it'll start creating an image. And then you can specify like, once you like want to create me more variations of that, you know, error, try again. But once they're, super loaded, everybody's doing it, it'll create errors. But for the most part, like these ones, I was able to create it with it. But Alma, I would try it.
Okay. I think it's because I'm not on that GPT-4, but I'll try it. I mean, it seems very simple. You just do the attachment and then the AI should be coming up with the
Yeah, the
combination.
different.
Because like when I was telling you sometimes it's a blessing and a curse is because a lot of people want me to there's a private school here and a public school and they're literally right across the street from each other. And so
Oh wow.
some parents have students that like their daughter chose to go to the public school and their son decided to go to the private school. So then you need those two logos because they have both sports. And so it's like a house divided type thing. And when they start asking me, oh, can you create this? Can you create that? Well, during Christmas season, like right now, it's really hard to be designing all day long because then I don't get to the printing part of it. So
Yeah.
this would help me out. I feel like it would help me out. That's pretty cool. It like
Yeah.
put that together.
So you see, and it's not the best right now. It's still learning, and it's amazing how fast it's changing. As an example, billionaire is not spelled properly. Inspire and over, or at least that one moves. Um, but it gives you, especially yourself that you're good with art. It's a
Yeah.
good, it gets you to a good starting point where
Yeah.
you don't have to start from zero, because a lot of the other ones that I've used, you have to be really good at the instructions that you give it for it to come up with something useful.
No, well, I mean, it would help me out a lot, especially like just, it's like having an assistant because I don't have employees. I still work out of my house and I don't have anybody coming in here. Um, well, one, I don't think I've scaled that much to be able to hire somebody yet, but I'm at a point where it's a little overwhelming to be doing the graphics, the administration, and the printing.
Hmm.
But this seems like it would help me help me out a lot. Oh, and then another thing, you were gonna send me a chart last week, and I haven't received it.
The art one.
Unless the one for the like you had said like your pricing sheet.
Oh yeah, I added it on my notes. Let
Okay.
me see.
Just because we're getting close and to 3 and I just remembered right now. I don't know, it just like popped in my head.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, and like I said, the ones that I'm gonna be sending you, they're from a couple years ago. Um, but you get the main, I'm gonna put on here. Right.
I just sometimes feel like I would be a little would feel more confident if I did more of the embroidery. And I know that you guys came up with your embroidery machine, but I had just bought that other machine from that other place. But I really wish things would have been differently and I'd been able to just buy it from you guys so that I could get the support that I need.
Are you, for the one that you received? Um, let me
I
just.
bought a Rincoma,
Did you buy it
but
used?
no, brand new.
And you're not getting good service?
Um, no, like I don't really know how to I know how to use a sewing machine, but most of the stuff that I've got, like most of the training that I've gotten. It was kind of like a crash course training. It was more or less kind of like OmniPrint where you guys couldn't come out because it was during COVID.
Uh-huh.
So, but I feel like the OmniPrint one, I'm an electronics type person, so it's easier for me to understand than the Rincoma, and digitizing is a whole different world than graphic arts.
Are
So
you
to digit
digitizing yourself?
No, I send it out, but it's it seems like right now I have an order where they want me to embroider a backpack, and it's just plain text. And I wish I was more knowledgeable when it came to how to digitize it or how to create it where I feel more confident being like, yes, I can embroider that without ruining it. Because this
Hey,
machine
Alma,
has, yes,
do you have FaceTime?
I do.
So maybe tomorrow you could FaceTime with Michael and I. He works with the digitizing side, and I
Oh, okay.
work with the machine sides because I have a Tajami and I have an ice stitch. So the
Okay.
Tajami is closer to the Racoma. Um, so if you give me a call, maybe I can help you.
Okay. That would be so much help for me because honestly, I have that machine. I've had it. I bought it a little bit after I bought it a little bit after I bought the DTF, the OmniPrint, and I feel like I messed up because I bought too many equipment at the same time. But I really, 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 I mean, obviously the OmniPrint's more expensive. So I really dug myself into learning how to use the OmniPrint, how to run the OmniPrint, how to ins and out of the OmniPrint, and kind of back-ended the embroidery machine. But I am getting a lot more requests for embroidery, and I just feel like I don't feel confident offering that service because I'm not confident with the digitizing or how things are supposed to look or how things are supposed to run, how fast they're supposed to go. I have done a few things, but it's a different world for me. I mean, I've done sewing and hems and things like that, but I have my own sewing
Yeah.
machine and everything.
Now, this is something that I'm working on now, and Michael can't digitize everything, but he'll try to digitize whatever it is. And if it comes out good, then we run with it. But if it doesn't, then we send it out. But this is the beanies that I'm working on right now. So and this is what I'm sewing in.
That looks good. For me, it's the small letters, like the smaller letters on a pocket size. I tried to do digitizing on my own. I sent it out. There's sometimes those little communities where you just send out and then they're like, oh, it's $5. But for the most part, the digitizer that I use, he charges $15 every time that I need something digitized. And for me to charge $15 for the digitizing, and then 10 or $15 for it seems like $30 for a pocket for one or two
Yeah,
shirts. It's like a
that's
lot, and
why.
then people turn away.
Yeah, that's why Michael tries to do it first. And if he can't do it or it doesn't come out looking the way we expect it, then we'll send it out. But even if he can help you get to a point
Well,
or
because
give
this
you
this
some,
one is this one's a backpack, and I've had stuff where I've tried to tried to embroider a polo, and the machine went bonkers, and it ripped a hole right through the fabric. I mean, there's no saving it once it's done that.
Yeah.
Those kinds of
What I
things.
did, Alma, I put an email for the this is the company that I recommend. I would copy that, email him. His name is Charles, and let him know that everywhere the OmniPrint, referred you if you can get the OmniPrint pricing, because I have pre-negotiated prices with them. So they give you the high volume pricing right out the gate. but this is who I use for like, hey, can you vector this? Can you digitize this? I need this digitized for a hat, for a polo, for 3D. It's super cost effective because on the
Uh-huh.
price list that I'm gonna send you, it also has the digitizing expenses on there because you
Okay.
also definitely need a charge for that. I mean,
Well,
other
yeah, but
companies.
that's where I fall into like, um, if I felt if more confident. So I feel like if I start pushing that more, and then right now I know that January and February are gonna be my really low downtime. Usually January and February are my slowest months.
Mhm.
So I'm
And then we have it because you say you're spending like $15 for like a small logo.
yeah, it's about $10 to $15.
And those
Wait,
are
Emily,
typically
wait.
like, if I'm not mistaken, Yvonne, they're like 5,000 stitches or something like that, right? Um, so reach out to Charles. I think don't quote me on this, but I think I I I strong arm them to about 75 cents per thousand stitches. So 75 cents times 5,000 stitches, that's around $4, under $4, something like that.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't. I pay a lot more than that. I go through. I've gone through other digitizing. People are always constantly. Hold on, Emily. Okay, let me finish my meeting. Hold on. I'm constantly finish. I'm sorry. I'm constantly getting emails from digitizers saying, "Oh, I'll digitize your items," and I've taken like taken the chance, being like, "Okay, well, here, try digitizing this," and it looks good on screen, and then the moment I try embroidering it, it looks like they auto digitized, and
mhm.
so then that's why I started going to just this one place. I think it's called Finest Punch, but he does charge like $10 to $15 for a small logo, and
Almost
that's
just
Um,
so you know,
and uh-huh.
it's pretty standard. The way I sell it to customers is like, look, I charge the customers $25 to set it up, so I make $10 off that $15, and I tell them, but look, it's the one-time fee, and if you want to do shirts again later, or you want to use that design later, then you don't have to pay it anymore because that's already paid for. So
okay.
I don't be afraid to charge people for that because there is that hard cost for setup, and you should charge for it. Don't try to eat it as part of the item because then you're not going to be happy with what you're making, and everybody else is already charging for that anyways.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't see that. Those are the kinds of things that I wish that I don't have like my community the way that I do with my graphic arts.
Mhm.
Like what's supposed to be charged, what's not, what's fair, what isn't. My whole goal for my business is to be fair as well for my pricing. I don't gouge.
Both
So
ways though, both
yeah.
ways. I sent you a private message. You can call me tomorrow too, and we can kind of talk about it, and I'll let you know how we do it, and you can compare.
Okay. Thanks, Victor.
Yeah, no worries.
Thanks, Yvonne and Michael. I'm gonna go with everybody, see you get all this information. I mean, I have this $8,000 machine just sitting here. It doesn't. I think I've done maybe 4 jobs on it, besides practice. So thank you guys.
Yeah, so definitely use those resources. I'm glad how you guys are helping each other out, so that's definitely good. Are you guys still seeing my screen? No, not anymore. Let me see here.
No, I'm seeing you. Oh, there it goes.
So do you see that, Alma?
Yeah, the chat GDP did that.
Yeah,
Oh, that's so cool.
but you see like the text over, and
Yeah.
then but you could easily change that up. But the
Uh-huh.
main thing is, like it says, here's a new version. You can, upload different things, and it'll just start, chipping away at it. And that's the main reason I
Okay.
like this. I like this one because you can upload graphics, and it'll kind of use that as a starting point. The other ones are good too, but you have to, be really descriptive on what you want it to do. But the other ones, I think it was a couple weeks ago we talked about using AI, to create art.
Yeah, it was a Benny, I think,
Yeah,
or
so
maybe after Benny. So what format does it come in?
This one right here, it's let me actually click on it. I believe it's just a regular picture. I don't have a, let me see on here, downloads.
Is it a PNG or a PDF or what does it come down? You can just go to properties. What type,
PN,
file type?
PNG.
PNG, okay.
And then you could even specify, like for the ones that I did with these,
Mhm.
I put on there, you know, put it on the black background, put it in a red background, because in Photoshop it's just a lot easier to move stuff, or you can even say in a transparent format,
Oh, okay.
and it'll do stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
That helps a lot.
And then this is good, for right now for Christmas, making these ugly sweaters, and that's kind of, we're already, at our 3 o'clock time. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about this week is, how do you combine, designing for the holidays for ugly sweaters and, the seasonal fluctuations. I'm glad that, you know, Alma, Michael, and Yvonne are gonna reach out to you. Victor's gonna reach out to you. Benny, is there anything you wanted to add? You've been pretty quiet. Oh, we can't hear you.
No, I'm just absorbing all of the knowledge that I'm hearing.
Great. Mauricio, you wanted to say something? You were just signaling. Oh, you're good. Okay. So, that pretty much wraps it up. In case anybody else wants to add anything, Michael Enriquez, Benjamin, Tracy, Caesar. I'm not sure if you guys want to add anything. No. Okay, so Alma, I'll send you out, the price list so you can have an idea of what to do. And then other than that, if you guys need my information, you guys could probably already have it. If not, let me just quickly, I just put it in the chat, epna@omniprintonline.com. So Alma,
Okay.
don't be scared to reach out with any questions you have and anybody else. And I'm
Okay,
definitely
thank you.
here to help. And then see you guys next week.
Okay, bye.
Bye.